It's our reality, just your average family, trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life.
What's up? Today we got the Sermons Season 1, Episode 14, Phoebe's Got a Clone Now. This episode was directed by David DeLuise, or as we all know him, Jerry from Wizards of Waverly Place. Yeah, I was shocked when I found out that information. Knowing that Jerry, who's David DeLuise, who was on a Disney show and then Wizards of Waverly Place, who will also be returning to Wizards of Waverly Place's reboot, which I will be happy to see, as that show is a treasured show of mine. But still, anyway, for this episode starts off at the Thurman's living room, where we see Phoebe is multitasking with baking and doing calculus. Then goes back to making brownies. Max shows up telling Phoebe she's whisking with her calculator. She's whisking her brownies with her calculator. Phoebe realizes this and tells Max that she's super busy. She's got the bake sale with Cherry, all of her homework, plus she's volunteering at the library. But Phoebe can't remember what else she has to do. Max says to bore him with all the stuff she has to do today. Check. Again, I love Max, but Phoebe says, any chance Max is going to mature in the next 4 seconds and help her? Max says he'll answer that if she pulls his finger. Yeah, because it's Max. I don't say about that, but it's just Max who. Yeah. Phoebe says she wishes she could have done it all herself and could just clone herself and do it all. And Max says 2 of her, and then Phoebe says 1 of him, just. Then Billy and Nora show up. And Nora's in a Las Vegas outfit. And Billy's a magician. Yep, that's the B-centered story, which isn't actually a B-plot, but we don't get a B-plot till episode 16. We don't get back to doing A-plots and B-plots till episode 16. But this is technically the second plot. And it's kind of the worst part of the episode. Because it doesn't need to happen. The episode's supposed to be about Phoebe, and it's supposed to be a Phoebe-centric episode, but then we get Billy and Nora scenes, and it's like, what happened to the Phoebe? It's supposed to be a Phoebe episode, but Phoebe's in half of the scenes, and the rest of the episodes is about Billy and Nora trying and failing to do this talent show. Okay. I'm just saying that I'm just not a big fan of this plot. Yeah. Matt asks what Billy and Nora are doing. What are up to. Nora says they got a cabaret gig in Vegas. Billy. He says that I thought that we were doing the thing for a school talent show. Nora feels the exact same way I do I feel the exact same way Nora feels same way I do as she rolls her eyes at Billy's answer. Because it's not funny. I don't know why I don't like talking about this in my reviews because I want to be centric on the show. But the problem with this whole Billy joke thing, as I mentioned before, is that's not funny anymore. Nora rolling her eyes is exactly how I feel every time this joke is replayed. Annoyed that they keep replaying this joke. I agree with you, Nora. Roll your eyes. I do too. The joke is annoying. It's It's very bad when you have to reply on the exact same joke of Billy not understanding what's going on. Phoebe says, the talent show. That's what she forgot. And Nora says, Phoebe promised to be their piano player and teach them some dance moves. Billy says he needs to learn to shake his moneymaker right now. It's just bringing in the change. Nora says, don't say Phoebe forgot. And Phoebe says, of course not. And says their talent show is her number one priority. She would never forget that. Wait for her to finish the brownie. And Max says, that shows what she forgot. And Phoebe says, yeah. In Max's lair, we see Max touching a globe when Phoebe shows up, talking Spanish, because she was doing her Spanish homework. Phoebe asks Max, what does he want? And Max says, Phoebe said something interesting earlier. He took note, because, yeah, that doesn't happen really often with Max. Phoebe says, so he calls down there to insult her. Max says, no, that's the bonus. Max says he called her down here to show her something really impressive. So then Max shows he made 2 Dr. Colossos. Phoebe says it's behind the 2 Dr. Colossos. Max says it is the 2 Dr. Colossos. Dr. Colosso has been teaching him how to clone. But they've all been coming out with 2 butts. Until now. Now 1 beautiful butt. Phoebe says Max really needs to get out more. Max says before she leaves, he might want to see something and unveil his new creation, a clone of Phoebe. Because, yeah, the clone of Phoebe. Phoebe says, what did you do? Because that's... And Max says, Phoebe says she wanted to clone a creation, like a clone of herself. And Phoebe says, it was an expression. And Max says, so is this. I'm a stinking genius. Again, I love Max, but... Phoebe says, it's so wrong. But Max says, but it's so wrong. Max says, no, this is perfect. Phoebe gets help with her boring life, and Max gets something that'll impress that'll impress Villain University. Phoebe says, a clone, and Max says, competition is tough. Jimmy Klegner turned his grandma into a zombie and was still waitlisted. Wow. Interesting. He turned his grandma into a zombie. Phoebe says, does she actually look exactly like her? Clone Phoebe says she could. Phoebe says she could talk all day about Phoebe's shoes. And Phoebe says they were a little pricey, but says, wait, whoa, this is too weird. Phoebe doesn't want to be another one of Max's wacky experience. But then Phoebe's phone calendar tells her she has plans at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock, and then tells the calendar to get off her back. And Max says, only if there were 2 of her. Phoebe says, if someone finds out, if Phoebe says if someone finds out Max can clone, they'll get an inkling that they're not kind of your normal suburban family. Max says, no one will inkle. There will be no inkling. Again, I love Max, but I love Jack Griffith's performance, but that's not every episode that I just love Max. I probably do. She's a perfect clone of... She's a perfect copy of Phoebe. Same annoying voice, same cackling laugh, same dopey face. Then both Phoebe and Clone Phoebe say, okay, I get it. Clone Phoebe says, asks Phoebe, how can you stand Max? Phoebe says, it's not easy. And Max says, he'll be able to clone Phoebe the whole time. Max says, he just wants to see how clone Phoebe works in the real world. Phoebe says, she doesn't think so, Max. No. Nora says, Phoebe, the keyboard's not going to play itself. Billy says, I think keyboards can play themselves. And Nora says, shut it, Billy. Okay, the Billy line was funny, but then Nora saying, shut it, Billy, was just great. Weird. That was basically, I think it was all ADR, because they said, Phoebe says, they need your help. Phoebe says, she won't let Max take Clone Phoebe to the bake sale, but maybe Clone Phoebe can shelve books for Phoebe at the library. Before Phoebe leaves, she tells Max, don't mess this up, or he'll expose them all. Max says, since they're going to the library, he should probably return the book on neutrons. Or there's going to be a charge. Max says, oh, me. Clone Phoebe says, only if your jokes were as good as your cloning. Then Max says, she's just like Phoebe. He should dial back on the sat. And goes to grab a book, causing one of his books to hit Clone Phoebe. Max asks her on the head if she's okay, and Clone Phoebe says numbers are made of candy. I don't know. She's no dumb. Max says, say what? Dr. Clausen says, Max, what is the first thing I told you about cloning? Max says, the more butts, the bigger the cleanup. Dr. Clausen says, yes. And says, yes. And with the slightest bump, the clones turn dumb. Observe. And he hits his clone on the head, and the clone says, he's the mayor of string cheese. It's just funny that Dan Snyder had to say that line. Max says, it's just a little glitch. Dumb clone Phoebe says, look, she's Mr. Fingertips. Max says, that might be... Max says, that might be something the real Phoebe does. We don't know. Meanwhile, Nora Phoebe is training Billy and Nora because this plot has to happen. Nora says they're going to make it the best talent show. Billy says good because he doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of the whole school. Nora says he has a reputation. Nora says, what reputation? To be. He's the usual guy. He's the embarrassing kid. He's the embarrassing kid who gets embarrassed in front of the whole school, who embarrasses the whole school. It's not funny. Sorry, Billy. Your last joke where you said keyboard can play themselves, that was funny. But this needs some work. This needs some work, Billy. Phoebe plays some music and Billy and Nora tap dance. Billy tap dance so much that his super speed activates. Hank and Barb just randomly show up because they're in this plot, which they should be because they don't even have they're not even they don't even have any plot. Like, why have them in the episode if they don't even do anything until, like, the end? Like, they don't even do anything until the end of the episode. Like, so why even have them in it? It doesn't make any sense. They kind of don't do anything. But they're there for the entire episode of this plot, even though they don't do nothing, and all it exists to is Nora insulting Hank later on. But why have them in the episode if they were just not going to do anything but get roasted? Barb says, Hank, do something. And Hank says, Phoebe, do something. And Phoebe uses her freeze breath, then unfreezes Billy. Billy says, Phoebe, what did you eat? Cat food? And Phoebe says, it said it was tuna. She's having a lot of her mind, okay? Nora says, this isn't going to work, and Barb says, her and Hank could offer them some damn tips, but Billy rejects the two of them by saying Phoebe can help them. She's great at this, and Nora roasts Hank by saying Phoebe's not old, and Hank says that he's gonna act like he didn't hear that, and Barb laughs, saying, "That's funny, Nora." But then she says, telling Nora not to disrespect her father. Phoebe says they got some rehearsing to do, and so they could, and her and Hank. Bart says, her and Hank. Then Phoebe says, oh, here we go. Then Barb says, her and Hank used to dance all the time. Hank says, now we just watch people who think they can dance. Barb says, come on, Hank, let's bust a move. Then Hank and Barb dance. Hank dances so hard his shoe falls out. I thought it was Barb, but when Barb makes a comment later about Hank hitting the floor, I'm just gonna say it was Hank. Nora says she wishes that she could hit her. Now at the library, we see Max and dumb Phoebe clone, because I came up with a better name for her, walk in, and Max says since the clone is like Phoebe, reading should come to her. We see dumb Phoebe clone eating a book, because that's somehow possible. It's just like how Cherry's huge bump in the last episode made no sense. I still haven't forgotten about that show. In the last episode, I still haven't forgotten how you made me puzzled with how that even possible. And now this. How can you eat a hard book? Maybe dumb Phoebe clone is just super strong. Max says, now she's eating a book. Because that's possible. Max tries to hit her on the head to return to normal, but no, she's still dumb. Dumb Phoebe clone says, now she sees two of them. Hi, Max. Hi, Max. Again, Kiera Costner is just loving playing dumb Phoebe clone. It's just, like, this episode is great, just for Kiera Costner's performance as both Phoebe. She's playing smart Phoebe, while on the other side, she's playing dumb Phoebe clone. Which I was gotta say, she deserves something for playing two Phoebes in the same episode. Yeah. She says she sees two of them, but because she's dumb, she holds up 3 fingers. Wait. Yeah, 3 fingers. Max tells her to fix her face. So then she just slaps herself aside the head. I don't know how that would work. Max tells her to stay there while she's going. Then they're going to be stacking books. So Mrs. Crandall, which we don't get her name until the end of the episode. We don't get Mrs. Crandall's name until the ending point of the episode. So I called her Lady. But then when Phoebe called her Miss Crandall, I just changed it to Miss Crandall, which reminded me of Miss Randall from Power Dino Thunder, but because they have the exact similar same name. So Mrs. Crandall shows up to dumb Phoebe clone. Dumb Phoebe clone tells her, train go choo choo, because Kiera Costner is loving doing this performance. Mrs. Crandall tells dumb Phoebe that Mrs. Barnett called in sick, so she's gonna take over. So dumb Phoebe clone is going to take over for story time. Dumb Phoebe clone says, she's Phoebe, and this is a book. She says, hey kids, she's Phoebe, and this is a book. Again, Kiera Costner is really going hard on this stuff. So, she says, once upon a time, wordy words, funny butterfly, goofy kids, some guy in the hat, the end. Was some guy in the hat the cat in the hat? Who knows? Then Max shows up, says, dumb Phoebe raises her hands along with the other kids. One of the kids tells dumb Phoebe, says, dumb Phoebe clone is weird, which Max says in the tape recorder, dumb Phoebe clone is, well, excellent physical replica. She's an IQ of a tube sock. Again, I love Max, but Max asks dumb Phoebe clone to read a book. It's a picture book, so she won't be slowed by down the wordy words. Dumb Phoebe clone says, once upon a time, there was a boy, but freaks out over a pop-up dragon thinking the book is alive and is trying to attack them. So she rips the pop-up dragon out of the book, attacking it. Max tells dumb Phoebe clone to calm down. It's just a pop-up book, no dragon. A bald bearded guy, which we don't get the name of, he's just some bald bearded guy, tells Max to keep it down. Max says, his sister Phoebe tends to get a little involved in her books. Sometimes. The bald bearded guy tells Max he didn't ask for an explanation. Max says, get back to your book, Caging the Rage. Good anger management. Good for him. Then dumb Phoebe clone just decides out of nowhere to throw a book at this guy, causing him to think it's Max, and obviously this guy now wants to tear Max apart. Max says, is there any chance he's about to use the bathroom? Getting up to use the bathroom? Because Max is... Meanwhile, at Thunder House, Phoebe tells Hank and Barb that they're ready to wow them. I'm not ready to wow them because this plot is boring. This plot is just boring. We don't need this. Go back to the actual fun stuff with Phoebe clone, please. Episode. Dumb Phoebe clone is funny. Stop with this. Okay. We'll continue on with this boring Nora B plot. They say they're ready. Phoebe says she's been practicing and she thinks they're gonna nail it. Like Hank nailed the wall. Which got me to realizing, yeah, maybe it was Hank's shoe. Phoebe's, yeah. Hank says, a dance is good as only as his partner. His partner is good. Barb tells Billy to give a spotlight, and then we see Barb's flashlight hand again, like in the first episode, like in the pilot episode, which is, I did not know Barb had. Her name is Electress, not Lightress. So I didn't expect that a person who had electricity-based powers had the power to create a spotlight. Okay, at least they're bringing this power back since it hasn't been seen since the pilot episode. Billy and Nora show up in Mexican outfits and do a Mexican dance. Billy then spins Nora so fast she crashes. Then Max calls Phoebe and Max asks Phoebe how things are going. Phoebe asks him, what has he done? I just love how she just blames him. Max says, oh, good. Max says, there's a little problem. Then he says, there's a little problem here. And he doesn't want to worry her. Then we see dumb Phoebe clone saying, wee. Then Max says, yeah, it's happening. Phoebe says, Max, what's going on? And Max says, turns out her twin isn't as bright as he thought. And she says, dude, I know you're dumb. And Max says, no, me, your other twin. That was a good joke. So Phoebe yells to Billy Nora that she has to leave for a couple of minutes. Phoebe tells Max to keep dumb Phoebe clone anything, keep her there. But anything he does, don't let her go to the school bake sale. Max says no school bake sale, got it. Don't worry, he's complete control. Then we see Max being held up by his shirt by a bald bearded guy. Max says he has no control. He's lost complete control. Then dumb Phoebe clones. Then to make Max's mad work, dumb Phoebe clone says, "School bake sale! School bake sale time!" Max says, and then she says, "Wee!" Max says, "No, you can't. You can't be exposed." Then Max tells the beer guy, "You can't be exposed to sunlight. Harsh rage. Harsh rage without a suitable sunblock." Max says, "Bald beard guy is gonna hurt Max," and bald beard guy growls. Phoebe shows up. Mrs. Crandall is asking where Mrs. Crandall asking where Max is. Mrs. Crandall tells Phoebe that she thought she told her to get out, to check herself out of the library. Phoebe says she knows why. She knows that's why she wanted to help. She wanted to help. She wanted to help fix anything. Mrs. Crandall says sorry won't bring back the young romance section. And fires Phoebe. Phoebe says, "You can't fire a volunteer." And she says, Don't make me call security on your ass." She actually doesn't say that, but I just wanted to say that because it's funny. Saying Phoebe's ass, and it's funny. It's funny to say that she's gonna call security on Phoebe. Yeah, but anyway, but then it's revealed the security guy is asleep. Then Miss Crandall says, "Collect your things and your brother." With Max in a trash can, Max says, "Phoebe, don't attack him," and Phoebe says it's her. Max says, "What's Hank's favorite in between meal?" "Snack," and Phoebe says, "Another meal." Because it's Hank. So Max says, "It's her." So Max says, "Okay, it's her." Phoebe says, "Where's her clone?" And Max says, "Don't be mad." Phoebe says she's already mad. So Max says, "School bake sale." They scream and run to the bake sale. Back to the boring B plot, everyone. Even though it's not a B plot, but it's the B story. Boring. Hank and Barb are waiting for Billy and Nora. Billy and Nora try to say, is Max there? They say no. Is Dr. Colosso there? Yeah, again, why would Max Dr. Colosso want to help them? I don't get it. So Hank just tells them to get down there. Nora's in a ballet outfit. And then Hank says, "Oh, kiss fairy princess." And Nora says, "Doesn't she look darling?" Nora says she does. And then Nora says, Billy, living room, now!" Again, that was great. It was terrifying. Nora terrifies me, but it was great. Just for her to yell Billy's name. Billy shows up in a white shirt and black pants. Kind of gave me, I don't know what movie that is, but it gave me vibes from Footloose or Dirty Dancing, or never seen those two, or three. Actually, no. Dirty Dancing or Footloose. Never seen those two movies, but it gave me that kind of vibe. But Hank says, Didn't he look adorable in his thunder tights? And Barb just lies, saying yes. Because Nora says, "Eyes over here, people." Hank says, and Billy says, they're gonna do for the big fin. Nora says, "Is he ready to catch her?" No, he says he's ready. Billy opens his arms and doesn't catch her. Billy says when. Nora says when. And she says, "What's I gonna do without Phoebe?" Barb says, she knows Phoebe isn't here, but they got them. And Nora says sweetly, "Not on your life." Again, I don't like this B plot, but it does have funny lines. Meanwhile, at school bake sale, Cherry is fighting for those nobles, and the 20 cents will be given to her because she doesn't know what a narwhal is. Then dumb Phoebe clone shows up. Cherry says, "There you are, Phoebe," and Phoebe says, "Now she's over here." And oh no, she disappeared again. Kira Costner is just giving her best in this episode. I compliment you, Kira Costner. If you're watching this video, which you're probably not, I just give you, but if you are, I give you totally say that you did a great job with what you were given. Sherry says this is a weird game for her. Then a customer shows up saying if the red velvet cupcake is good. Dumb Phoebe Cone says, "I don't know. Let's see," and eats it. And then it says, and asks the customer if she wants a bite. The customer is grossed out and leaves. Sherry's like, Phoebe, and dumb Phoebe Cone says, "Yeah, that's her name, Phoebe." So then, again, just this episode, Kira Costner is giving it her all. So then Max and Phoebe show up saying, Max and Phoebe show up. Max and Phoebe show up. And Max says that he'll lure dumb Phoebe under the table. Then real Phoebe grabs her, and Phoebe duct tape and rope. Should Phoebe be worried that Max has duct tape and rope? Max says not worry, thankful. And then Cherry shows up to be like, yo Max, good, glad you're here. Your sister has gone insane. Max says, she just has. That's what she gets when she gets sugar. Hey, dumb Phoebe clone, here's a cupcake. And then they fight, and then underneath the table, she's like, "Hi, Phoebe," and then Max says she names all of her cupcakes Phoebe. And then they get into a big fight, and then he says she's got the sugar shakes, and then he basically tells Cherry that there's a tree outside, or something, and Cherry says, "This is what we've been fighting against," and goes outside. I don't know what it was about. Just know Cherry said that. Cherry went outside. It was probably about a tree. Max says Max takes Phoebe out of the table and says he'll take dumb Phoebe to the lair, and she goes to the talent show. And then Phoebe says, "Talent show, wee!" And then Max is like, "Oh no." He told his entire plan to dumb Phoebe clone. So dumb Phoebe clone goes to the talent show, I guess. And Max gets the real Phoebe, which was pinned down, which Phoebe tells Max that dumb Phoebe clone pinned her down and put a cupcake in her mouth. And Max says, "Note to self, dumb Phoebe clone is freakishly strong, but generous with baked goods." Meanwhile, at Hiddenville Elementary, which would be I think this would be the second time we'd see it. Who knows? This is the first time and the second time and final time. We see the teacher. We see the principal. Forgot the guy's name, but he makes countless appearances. Principal says Billy and Nora are ready. He actually says a bunch of stuff about his students. Billy and Nora show up in 50s outfit. Hank and Barb says since Phoebe's gone, Phoebe isn't there, someone's gonna have to play piano for them. Hank says they're gonna get crawling back to him. But Billy says, "Mrs. Carmichael, can you play piano for us?" And Hank says, "Come on!" Like, I love that this still applies, but they're basically not wanting Hank and Barb to do anything. I think they did this a little bit later in season 3, but I just love this plot. Yeah, Mrs. Carmichael to do it. Billy and Nora are doing their performance when dumb Phoebe clone comes in, pushing Mrs. Carmichael off stage, possibly killing her because we don't see her survive. So let's give R.I.P. to the one-time teacher. If we do see her again, I'll probably. But yeah, but since we don't see her recover, or we don't see her like get up off the stage, some Phoebe clone's probably charged with murder. I didn't even forget this really gets so dark, but bro, we don't see Mrs. Carmichael again, so dumb Phoebe clone is probably charged with murder, and it's probably living out on the land. Dumb Phoebe clone starts to play random notes. Barb says they need to help Phoebe. Then dumb Phoebe clone starts playing the drums. Then real Phoebe and Max show up. Phoebe says this is good because he's about to take the blame for it. Phoebe says Max made her. Then Phoebe says Phoebe is her. Then Barb and Hank notice the two Phoebes, and Hank says he'd say Max is cloning again, but he only sees one butt. They say they gotta do something before Hank and Barb show up, find out. Hank says too late. Barb gets mad at them despite it being Max's idea. Phoebe does, and weirdly, Phoebe doesn't defend herself, saying, I just was here for it. Max created a clone of me, and I had nothing to do with it. But no, she just doesn't tell them that she doesn't tell them the truth. She just allows herself to get in trouble for doing nothing. Like, Phoebe had no idea that Max was going to create a clone of her. So why doesn't she say that? Why doesn't she say, oh hey, Max created a clone of her that she had no idea about? So yeah. Yeah, she doesn't say that. Barb says they're gonna have to use their powers in public. So Barb uses her electricity to turn off the lights. Max uses his telekinesis to wrap up dumb Phoebe clones, so Hank takes her away. Then the real Phoebe uses her telekinesis to help Billy and Nora win the talent show. They win the talent show. Meanwhile, Barb and Hank's punishment for Phoebe and Max, which should just be for Max because, again, Phoebe did nothing wrong. She should not be deserving this punishment. She was just there because Max told her to be there. She had nothing to do with this whole cloning idea. I don't know why she doesn't say anything. She just allows herself to be punished by her and Max forcing to watch Hank and Barb's dance routine. Then they say tap routine time, and for Max and Phoebe to change Barb and Hank's tap shoot. Barb says this is what you get for cloning, but again, not Phoebe's fault. She didn't know that Max is going to take her expression literally. So I don't know why she doesn't say that. So, yeah. Max asked what they did where they took the dumb Phoebe clone and dumb Klaus clone. Hank says he took them to a better place. They say, ew. But then he's like, no, a better place as in Aunt Maggie's farm. Who's Aunt Maggie? We don't know. Then we cut to Aunt Maggie's farm, where we see dumb clone Phoebe is actually petting real Colosso. Yeah, either Hank didn't see the difference, or he intentionally sent real Colosso there. Then we see dumb clone Colosso is in Max's lair saying that he's a donkey. And that's the end of the episode. Next episode, Dr. Colosso was just back in Max's lair, and there was no explanation on what happened to his clone. I don't know. There's no explanation on what happened to Colosso's clone, nor is or dumb Phoebe clone are ever seen again. Do we ever see their Aunt Maggie again? Do we ever see her? Is she a character? We'll have to see as we go through this series. But that's it for episode 14. Phoebe's a clone now. It was a good episode, and it was David DeLuise's only episode where he directed for Nickelodeon. Weird, but yeah. Next episode, the rest of the series will be directed by regular writers of the show, regular directors of the show, but this is the only time where they actually get an actual director who directed for other series, who was a Disney guy. But yeah, Weird that Dr. Colossus' clone is never explained how Dr. Colossus got back to Max's later. It's never explained what happened to the clone. Maybe Hank found out the truth about the clone and was able to get Dr. Colossus back. It's never explained. But anyway, that's it for this video. And I'll see you next time for Season 1, Episode 15. Have an ice party. Have an ice birthday. So we only have 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. 6 more episodes left of this season. This is the shortest season of Thundermans. Season 2 has 26 episodes. Season 3 has another, I think it has 25. And Season 2 has 25 episodes. Season 3 has 26. And Season 4 is 29. Actually, it's 32, but between its Halloween special, which aired during Season 3, which I put in the Season 3 reviews because it's actually a Season 3 Halloween special. Yeah, weird that Season 2 is the only Thunderman episode to have a Christmas special, and Season 3 is the only Thunderman's episode to have a Halloween special. Weird they don't do that for Season 4, but yeah, I'll see you next time. I'll see you next time. Thunderman away and GK no Hashimi no Ka. To the next episode.